People can feel desperation even when you say nothing. It changes the way you text, the way you look at people, the way you wait for approval before making a decision. And most men never realize how visible it is. They think they are being kind, patient, available, but slowly they become predictable. And predictable men lose respect fast, because the moment a man starts needing validation to feel valuable, people stop seeing a strength. They start seeing dependency. That is why some men get ignored in every room they enter. Not because they are ugly, not because they are unintelligent, but because their entire energy asks for permission to exist. You can hear it in the way they speak. You can see it in the way they react too quickly, the way they over-explain, over-text, over-chase, over-give, as if deep inside they are terrified of not being chosen, and the world always feels that fear. But the strange thing about needy men is that they usually believe they are being good people. They answer instantly. They over-explain every mistake. They try to make everyone comfortable. And little by little, they start sacrificing their self-respect just to keep attention. That is why desperation destroys masculine presence, because people can feel when a man is afraid to lose them. You see it in relationships, friendships, even business. The man who fears rejection always gives away his power first. He apologizes too quickly, texts too much, talks too much, explains too much, as if silence itself makes him uncomfortable. But powerful men understand something different. Silence creates tension, and tension creates respect. The more emotionally stable a man becomes, the less he needs constant reassurance from the world around him. That calmness changes everything, because people naturally respect men who seem emotionally complete on their own. Most men don't realize when respect starts disappearing, because it never happens all at once. It happens in tiny moments. When a man tolerates behavior he secretly hates, when he laughs at disrespect just to avoid conflict, when he changes his personality depending on who he is around. That is how approval slowly replaces identity. And once that happens, people stop trusting his presence, because there's nothing stable about a man who constantly adapts himself just to be liked. You see it everywhere now. Men terrified of being misunderstood, terrified of being rejected, terrified of standing alone. So they become agreeable with everyone, safe with everyone, available for everyone, and eventually forgettable to everyone. Because people respect emotional certainty, not performance, not validation seeking, not a man constantly trying to prove he deserves attention. The men who command real respect usually speak less, react less, need less, and because of that, their presence feels heavier the moment they enter a room. The most dangerous part about seeking approval is that eventually you stop recognizing yourself. You become whatever keeps people comfortable, whatever keeps attention alive, whatever avoids rejection. And after enough years of doing that, a man loses the ability to stand completely alone with his own thoughts. That is why silence feels unbearable to weak men. Silence forces self-confrontation. It exposes insecurity, neediness, emotional dependency. And most people spend their entire lives running from that feeling. They distract themselves constantly. Attention, validation, relationships, notifications, noise, anything to avoid sitting alone with who they really became. But emotionally strong men do the opposite. They face themselves directly. They stop performing, stop chasing, stop begging to be understood by everyone around them. And slowly, their presence changes, because a man becomes powerful the moment he no longer needs external permission to respect himself. Once a man stops needing approval, everything about him changes. His reactions become slower, his emotions become quieter, his presence becomes heavier, because he is no longer trying to control how people see him. And strangely, that is exactly when people begin respecting him more. Not because he became louder or colder or more aggressive, but because he stopped abandoning himself just to keep attention. Most men spend years performing versions of themselves that other people might accept. And in the process, they lose all emotional weight, because there is nothing powerful about a man who constantly edits his personality for approval. Real confidence is much quieter than people think. It does not beg, it does not chase, it does not panic when someone walks away. And the moment a man truly understands that, he stops looking desperate to the world around him. That is when his presence finally becomes impossible to ignore.